Okay, Jill and I may be related in some way because I could most definitely be described as a troublemaker in school. But I spent all my years here in Whitfield County from kindergarten through 12th grade and spent a lot of time in elementary school with Lori Jo in the office. A lot of time. So she knows me way back and she can vouch for my story. All through school, got into trouble all the time. I did what my teacher said. I did my work. I did it the way they wanted to. I got good grades. But I still, all the time, get in trouble. And all the way through high school, get in trouble. There's probably some administrators in here that can vouch for that. Mr. Shun. But I went to college and I had no desire to go into education because my experience was so poor. And I went into a college algebra class and I had a phenomenal college algebra teacher that got to know me and learned how I learned best and how to keep me on task, keep my mind on, and keep me out of trouble. And I was paying to be there, so that may have had something to do with it. But I saw through that college algebra teacher that it was possible to go into an elementary school classroom, get to know a kid, and keep them on the right track educationally and keep them out of trouble. So I went into education because I said I'm going to go into the classroom and I'm going to change some kids' lives and change their experience that they had. I started teaching at Antioch Elementary School in '05, and that was right at the time where Whitfield County really started finding a true direction. What are we going to do for our kids? What's our core business? We really decided then and there that our core business was students, which was fantastic for me. So I went into the classroom and I had all these great ideas of things I was going to do to keep these troublemaking kids like myself out of trouble and still teach them. Well, my very first year was a little rocky because some of the things that I wanted to do weren't yet part of the direction, I guess you'd say. I wanted to do lots of project-based stuff. I wasn't really concerned with grades because grades aren't really a true reflection of what a kid is capable of doing. You need to see something that they have truly done, hear them explain how they did it, watch the process of how they did it, to really know, do they know how to do it? Because when you get into the real world, you don't get a grade. You're hired or fired on the performance. So as we move further along into our direction and students being our focus, I was able to go deeper into what I really wanted to do. I wanted to get to know my kids. And I began to notice as I taught more years that I always seemed to get the kids that were the troublemakers. But it's because I took time to get to know those kids. I found out what they were interested in. I found out who they liked and didn't like, which is very important in a classroom. And I found out how they learned, because that's what I wanted a teacher to do for me. And until the weight was lifted off of us about, you got to pass the CRCT, you got to pass, I wasn't able to focus on that because I was too concerned with shoving circumference of circles down their throats. So the county or the school board and the administrators have made it possible for me to do what I went into education for, was to get to know my kids and truly make a difference in their lives, not just academically, but also socially. And if our direction had not changed from, we've got to get them to pass the RCT, to let's create good citizens that will go out into the nation and be able to hold up against the other students in the nation in the workplace, I don't think that I would still be in education. If it was still the same way it was 5 years ago, just like Leanne said, if I were not better off now than I was 5 years ago, I would not be continuing on the path I am now, which is getting to know my kids. Thank you.